All right, today is Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. And yes, it is 2024. So if you have a case that's been delayed and the receipt notice shows maybe 2023, early 2023, 2022, or maybe even 10 years ago, and you're still waiting for an interview or a decision, then you know what to do. Give us a call. The best way is go to our profile page up there. Okay. Go to a profile page. Right below the circle before the profile picture um, is a link. Okay. Just answer a few questions right there. And you're going to get redirected to pay this amount as a reservation fee. I really don't like doing it, but there's been a couple bad apples that don't show up, especially when it didn't charge anything. So it's a reservation fee um, to hold your spot, hold your seat. Okay, because we really care about our mission to help you live and work in America by securing your legal status. Okay. So, one of the ways we do that is by helping with the lawsuits because the government delays cases, and also through employment based, helping companies, entrepreneurs, HR, human resources, um, with HR consultants, and also investors who want to start their own business in America. There's a lot of different opportunities in America that some of y'all don't even know. Some of y'all may have a petition on file by a sibling, and you look at the visa bulletin, and you're like, oh my goodness, that's freaking 10 years, a long wait time. But there's other opportunities. So that's why we're here on the live show, typically Monday through Friday on LinkedIn. We're only on Wednesdays. Okay. But the topic of the day right now, usually I have a topic of the day for first 5 minutes, then I'll answer questions. But okay, Wednesday is typically about employment based. Okay. So tip number one, if you're a company, but let's put it this way, if you're a company that's abroad or in the United States, actually, let's say, but because there's, depending how structures are, let's say whether the company in the US is the parent company or the one abroad is the parent company, as long as there's some kind of relationship as the company, and you want to transfer a foreign national from the company abroad to the United States, that is possible. Okay. The first option in that sense is called the L visa. Okay. The formal name of it is called intra company transferee, aka transfer in a manager, executive, or a different type of employee. So it's fairly flexible. Okay. But I want to give you an idea. We have a very good success rate on those cases, among other cases, because we do a lot of due diligence before someone even signs up to authorize us to help them. So, but one of the things, for example, is that you need to be cognizant of, if you're filing yourself, I mean, more power to you. But if you want peace of mind, you want to make sure this gets done in a timely manner, you have questions, you want to make sure an attorney or legal team is available for you, it would be in your best interest, especially if it's a company trying to get an employee or entrepreneur. You don't have time is not on your side. You need to get it done correctly and timely as soon as possible. And especially since the pandemic, a lot of people tell me, other business owners tell me, man, I should have hired a week ago, something like that. Okay. So if you're trying to do this yourself, especially, it doesn't matter if you're a company, entrepreneur, or individual, you want to think about, you wouldn't know what the potential issues are because you don't do this every day. We do at Team Law Group. We do this every day. We know exactly what to do. This is our process. Like you wouldn't you wouldn't call a plumber to do a legal service. I mean, that's a little too obvious, right? But I wouldn't do any plumbing work. It seems simple. Like some people think immigration cases or pathways are simple, but it's really not. It's not that simple. Okay. So here's a deal. Here is something that someone hired us for L Visa uh, last year, early last year. This person filed on themselves by themselves. Okay, it got denied, and unfortunately, time was not on our side because this person was here on a visitor visa. Here on a visitor visa, so time is of the essence. Fortunately, we were able to, number one, file the case before that visa expired, but also guided this client to extend that visa just in case. All right. But I also had to point out when we're doing a due diligence of reviewing the case of why it was denied in the first place. There's a lot of different reasons. So this is one of those scenarios like you can read the instructions yourself, right? With USCIS. But the problem is, even us lawyers, we have to, as a legal team, like, what does this particular instruction mean? It can mean a whole ton of things. So, and it depends on the context. Okay. So, especially cases that involve companies, investors, even family members, the A through Z of type of visas. It's not a piece of cake. I know for some people, you're able to do it on your own. Congratulations. But for most people, I know you want peace of mind because a lot of people call us. There's a reason why we solve immigration problems every day. Okay, you can see our slogan here. I know on some screens it's backwards. Okay. But here's another tip related to companies. Pay attention to the job description. Okay. You cannot use your standard job description that you post on Indeed, ZipRecruiter, any of those websites, not sponsored by them anyway, but because most companies put the preferred qualification on those websites or on their own website. But for immigration, you cannot put the preferred qualification. You got to put the minimum qualification for that specific job. Okay. Take a quick break to say shout out to Effie on TikTok. Congratulations on getting your work permit in 4 weeks. That's wonderful. Absolutely hype it up. So this also channel to, if budget is a concern, of course, we're happy to share tips, even for people that you want to file on your own. Okay. But for some people, you might run into an issue where you get delayed or denied or visa refused, and we're happy to help even in those situations or when you have requests for evidence or notice of intent denied. But at the end of the day, if you want peace of mind, we're here to help. Folks, welcome to the channel. My name is John Ting. I practice and manage a law firm to help people live and work in America, whether for yourself or for a company, okay, by securing your legal status. All right. I manage a team at Ting Law Group. So we train them every day. All the team members train pretty much every day to help you. All right. So the second tip for companies, okay, related to employment based, okay, residency. It's still, to some extent, still related to the job description. The job description sets the tone for the rest of the case. Number one, it affects the job posting for the publication. Yes, they still require for residency pathway. The process requirements still require to post it in like Houston Chronicle or Dallas Morning News, for example, a major publication. And that costs a pretty penny. It depends on the characters, but average like 1,500 USD. It's pretty wild. So with that being said, you have, with that reason, and also later on in the process, like 1.5 years later, with Department of Labor, they'll finally check and say, "Hey, what does this mean in your job description?" And you're like, "Crap, I didn't pay attention. I didn't pay attention to that." Well, that's why, at least with our team, we pay a lot of attention to the job description at the very beginning. So I'm sharing this now because there's been several instances as with HR, and they're like, and we get the feeling, just the vibe from the emails or like, or the meetings are like, oh, they don't understand. So that's why I want to share this here with y'all on a live show. Always trying to find ways to share knowledge, information, some context. We're not trying to bother y'all. We're just trying to get the job done for you, okay? For your peace of mind. Okay, so tip number 3, third and last tip today for the employment-based cases, all right, is even though we're past the H-1B registration window, some things to know about that is if you were registered or you're a company, you did register someone for H-1B And especially if your HR department did it themselves and you didn't have a lawyer, make sure they keep track of those emails. Pay attention. I mean, of course, you're paying attention to email inbox, but there could be a notification later this year, who knows, that there could be a second round for H-1B. So you don't want to miss that email because let's say you really do have that candidate that you really want to hire, but of course you're waiting for the ability to sponsor them. You want to be on the lookout for that. Okay. But the other thing about H-1B, all right, the registration is every March. It's only one time a year. I agree with you. I think it's a ridiculous process. Only one time a year in terms of registration. It's very ridiculous. But here's the thing. You as a company, it's in your best interest to be proactive when you're doing recruiting, to be knowledgeable about these steps. Because if you come across a candidate that is not born in the United States and don't have any other than maybe OPT or F1 visa, you need to be knowledgeable about how to how to sponsor them, right? And so another thing is you don't want to extend the job offer when talking about money here when you don't know about the process again. There's something called estimated or prevailing wage determination. Okay. So keep that in mind. Because let's say you offer a job for 80,000, but prevailing wage is 60,000. Maybe you're cutting it close on the tight on the budget for your company budget on 80,000. I don't know, I'm just making numbers here, but you could have offered 60,000 instead. So just kind of give you an idea. All right. I don't see any questions. Any questions on LinkedIn? If not, you can go to the website right there. Okay, folks on LinkedIn, comment or join the next session next Wednesday for those folks on LinkedIn. So for those on LinkedIn, I'm gonna hop off, but stay on if you're on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube and Facebook. In the meantime, okay, great, I did that correctly. Good, I did not. All right, perfect. So that's cool. A lot of people asking questions. So this is how we do it on a live show at greencardguys.tv. I go through my tips first in general, then I answer questions. And when I answer questions, it might not be yours. I go in order if possible, and I switch platform to platform. So please know I'm not trying to skip anyone intentionally. If you're gonna say, "Can I ask a question?" Just some housekeeping here. You don't have to ask, "Can I ask a question?" And I encourage you to not say, "Why did you skip my question?" Because that actually per- makes me feel like I really shouldn't answer your question. So don't be entitled, anyone, please, because there's a lot of questions, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, so let me scroll down so I can get to the top of TikTok here. Um, Aria, mommy, what if you had to do 601? Well, why do you have to do 601? First, we want to make sure. Why do you have to do 601? And then, but if you know you have to do 601, then there's a lot of different scenarios with that. If it's 601 and not 601A, you want to make sure which one is. But if it's 601, have you filed? First of all, with either one, you need to file a petition first. That needs to be approved. Now with 601, the the most the more common scenario for 601 is that you're already abroad, you're already outside, and you need to have the interview, the first interview, and at the interview they're going to tell you, hey, you need to apply 601. Unfortunately, you can't skip that first interview. Now, if you're in the United States and you have unlawful presence, and let's say you're or unlawful presence in specifically that you entered without a visa, or maybe you enter with a visa, but you overstayed and you're sponsored by a resident, not a citizen, and that sponsor doesn't want to become a citizen, then you got to file that 601A. Okay. Um, and that can be done while you're in the United States. Okay. So a lot of different scenarios. Jahon D on YouTube. Can someone pass divorce slow down? I think can divorce slow down the process of a petition after she divorced and remarried? Um, I guess I'm a little confused on. how to answer your question because when someone says can or if, like it helps when I know the actual situation, like what is the current situation. So if the person has, um, did the new spouse file the petition? Is that what's going on? Because if it's the old petition, I mean that's done, right? Because that person divorced, but you file a new petition, so that's why I'm confused on your facts there. And the person has to be divorced already, right, to get remarried, married to someone else. Unless are you talking? You said remarried, so you're remarried to the same person? Is that what you mean? Well, yeah. I mean, the problem is you probably have to file a new petition. So I think that's what it is. You remarried the same person. Yeah, you technically would have to file a new petition. Like, look, if you didn't have to, or later on, 6 months later, you get approved, let me know. I'd love to know that. But because a petition document has to be updated with those dates of divorce and remarry. I don't think you can just skip it and not file a new one. I could be wrong though. Let's see here. Welcome to the show. My name is John Ting. I manage a immigration law firm helping you live and work in America legally by securing your legal status and absolutely trying to help you avoid any immigration problems. Let's see here. Maha. So, by the way, especially on TikTok, I think they're trying to be way more proactive than like other platforms, and they may accidentally not show your comment. So I just approved one to show up from Maha on TikTok. Your parents have petitioned your married sister. Okay, November 2009. How long do you think it'll take? Okay, so your parents citizens. Um, Let me pull up the visa bulletin if I can. So, by the way, folks, if you want to know like verify priority date, something like that, because questions like this is still pretty general, despite what some people think. Um, because I need to know the parents citizens or not. I need to know if there's a lot of different information. I need to know which country. So even though like my gut is reaction or not gut reaction, gut thing I do is check visa bulletin, but it's just tough, especially on TikTok. So if you have those kind of questions that you want me to answer, I always have follow-up questions. The best thing to do is jump onto YouTube or Facebook and I can see that follow up. The most important, let's see. Okay, let me go. AXXD on TikTok. Can you add more than one cell number to the G1145? I don't think so, and it really doesn't matter. I mean, I'm assuming it's a marriage case. Only ones, and they don't do email. I don't think they both do both email and text. I think they just pick one. But they ask, even in that sense. I need to verify my team, but I've seen both. It's so. Let's see here. Hopefully that helps. Um, okay, okay. Let's see. I see on Instagram. Oh, you just got up late. Okay. On Instagram, is Advanced Pro safe for travel? Yeah, but I think this is a different situation for you, Gmont Wayne on Instagram, because I think you said you're in Mumbai, but you're asking for a different family member, then um, we don't encourage it, even if someone filed a 485 based on marriage to a US citizen. That's generally anytime it's an immediate relative, then we still include the I-131 because of the fee increase April 1st, 2024. You have to pay extra for that now, the 131. Okay, but previously we always included it, right? Because it was included by the government. But we tell our clients to reserve that just in case like something happens to a family member or whatnot. But Yeah, we just don't encourage it proactively, but we encourage to have the 131 approved just in case when there's a pending 485. Okay, hopefully that helps a bit. Okay. By the way, just a quick reminder, housekeeping here. If you think I skipped your question, I probably did, but on accident, because on TikTok it scrolls it all the way down. I have to scroll all the way back up. So I try to be cognizant of that. Okay, I try to pin comments too on TikTok. All right, boss over here, everywhere, every something on TikTok. If your U.S. citizen spouse is on Medicaid, does that affect your green card application? Um, no, no, it doesn't. Any public benefits used by your spouse, your sponsor, does not affect for your own residency. As far as I know today, the public charge ground of inadmissibility is related to the immigrant, the foreign national, not your sponsor. Thank you for asking. Okay, we got Mohammed here. N400 denied. You got an N336, and you had to file N400 again. Got to reopen. Noid again. I thought I answered your question yesterday, but I'm glad I'm able to answer it when you're still on. Hopefully today. And I would have to know. This is a scenario I would have to know why they denied you in the first place, right? Or two times. Um, well, I guess yeah, the first place and then Noid. Like, what are they actually asking for? And were you actually able to provide the information they wanted? If you're able to provide actual information, well, take a step back. The documents they requested, was it legitimate? Like, was it legally required? If not, then lawsuit or N336. This just depends. And did you have a lawyer for it? At least for the N336, right? Because essentially, if you're even though the interviewing officer is supposed to be different for the N336, if you don't have an attorney to help you explain it to the officer, then that's a clue. Okay, so here's the situation. And then the second thing is maybe they did legally require something and you didn't have it. Then did you have a secondary evidence that's more what we call secondary rather than primary? What efforts did you make already? So those are the type of questions that our team would ask in a meeting, a strategy session, before we can just tell you like what the pathway is. Okay, so Diana on TikTok, you have family that came in with I-130A. Okay, humanitarian parole. Congrats on that. Can it be extended for for longer than 2 years now? As far as I know, it can be renewed, but I don't do humanitarian parole. So, but let me see if I can check that real quick. Yeah, you have to re-request it. All right, but it's always only for 2 years. Um, okay, Jonathan. Now I finally got to you. You got a work permit approved, but your 131 hasn't, and you sent them together. Is that a concern? No, it's not a concern because they have different workflow. That's like assuming when you file all the applications together, like how come not all my applications got a approval notice at the same time? What'd you expect? World superpower to be number one in USCIS for immigration? No, hell no, we suck. We suck. We get the best women's soccer team. We got the best basketball team. Men's soccer team. They got a lot of work to do. But immigration, we got a lot of work to do. Okay. But actually, it's improved, right? And this is a good example. Like you're joining now live. Thank you so much because I'm sharing information not just from real time right now, but from the past. It's just like knowing history. It's a history lesson here about USCIS. They tended to be slow to produce or approve the work permit and also advanced parole because before, I think they changed this about 2 years ago. Before the process for the work permit and the 131 was together. So we had more than one application together. I don't know why, but with USCIS, it slowed the entire process down. And when they slowed that down, that slowed down the third process, which is for residency. Go figure, slowed everything down. But because they separate out the process, the workflow, one of them goes faster. I mean, for me, I would think the work permit should go faster anyway because it gives allow you ability to work first to gain that income, gain higher income. So hopefully that context helps. And no, there's not necessarily a time period of saying like, oh, work permit was approved today, so I should expect the 131 or advanced parole like next week. It doesn't work that way. It's just two completely different workflows. Okay, let me hop down over to Instagram here. Angie, what's up? Or Angie. You're almost 21. Congratulations, man. Enjoy your 20s as long as you can. Ready to petition for your dad. That's so nice of you. Your mother's a US citizen, but they're not married yet. They're not married yet? What's up with that? No, I'm just joking. Some people, anyway. Do both pathways of petitioning require him to most likely leave the country? So it depends how your because you're almost 21 and you're a US citizen, okay, Angie. Um, this is considered immediate relative, okay? But it depends how your dad entered the United States. And hopefully he never left. I really hope he didn't leave. Okay. But if he entered the United States with a visa or maybe a border crossing card, has a proof of I-94. I-94 back in the day, like at least 10 years ago, I was going to do a heart, but a little card like this size, a little bigger than a passport size photo, and it'd be stuck in the passport. But they don't do it anymore. They do it electronically, which makes more sense. So no one loses it. Um, but yeah, if your dad if a person entered, so this is for everyone. If a person entered with a visa, and whether the sponsor is going to be a adult child over 21, U.S. citizen, or a spouse who's a U.S. citizen, then that immigrant does not have to leave the United States. Okay, that's what we call adjustment of status. But if that immigrant enter United States without a visa, okay, then I wouldn't say it's a problem, but there's this. Yeah, I mean, there it is. Makes it a little bit more complex, adds more steps, but requires a waiver. Okay. So Angie, I don't know if this is your situation, but or your dad's situation, but if you're, let's say, your dad entered without a visa, without a border crossing card, and glad to know your mom is a citizen, but this would be more reason for your mom to get married with your dad. And that's because adult children, get this, adult children can file a petition for your parent, step number one, but cannot be a qualifying relative for the purposes of a waiver. Let me repeat that. An adult child can do step number one, sponsor a parent, okay, with a petition, step number one, but cannot be considered for as a qualifying relative for the purpose of waiver, 601A form. So that's why if if your dad's got a honey bunny, or in this case your mom, and that person has status, they should just get married because that would certainly help for the waiver. And yes, it is okay if adult child helps with step number one, but let's say your spouse who has status can help with the waiver. Okay, that's okay. It does not require that if you're married to a U.S. citizen, that the U.S. citizen helps, in terms of all the way through in that sense. Everyone in the family can participate. How about that? All right, let me switch back to Jahon D. Okay, it's a new petition, but he moved out after his green card was approved, and she got divorced. Oh, so it sounds like you're talking about your friend. She got divorced and we got married. Oh, okay. No, this is your spouse. Okay. And she's a citizen. So I was kind of, you're asking if because he did that, it will affect, he did what? The divorce itself? No, I mean your new spouse can file for you. Okay. Okay. So let me to replay for everyone. The way I understand this, if your new spouse who has status, let's say citizenship, wants to sponsor you, but you're worried or concerned because that your new spouse may had sponsored someone else before and they got divorced, it doesn't slow down your case. More the concern is about number one, making sure there's a divorce order, okay, finalized. In Texas, you have to wait 30 days to get married now, like a new marriage. Okay. Some states you can waive it, other states might have longer time period. I'm not sure. Texas is 30 days. Okay. Now, the other thing to know is that people are more, other have other concern is about um, sponsorship. Okay. Let me see the form here. If I can pull it up. But it does ask who you sponsored or who you have sponsored. Let me see. It just depends on the phrasing here. Okay, there we go. Ask questions like who are your dependents? Do you have any dependents? Um, if you have sponsored any other person on the using this form 864 or 864EZ who are now lawful permanent residents, and you got to enter them in. You don't have to put the name, but you have to count them as one, um, essentially. So we'll increase the minimum poverty guidelines that your sponsor or spouse has to exceed. Okay, but it doesn't slow it down in that sense. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay. All right, let me see if anyone replied back here. All righty. Hope you all doing well. Welcome to the channel if you just joined. My name is John Ting. I manage an immigration law firm here, helping you to live and work in America legally by securing your legal status, especially when the government doesn't care. Okay. Sometimes law firms don't care either. It's weird. Some law firms will just help you like 99.9% of the way and they'll just duck out when you have a problem. It's really weird. We're here to help you all the way through. Just let's see. Okay, Martha on TikTok. TikTok. How long will it take for an I-130 to be approved from a citizen, the person, someone, it's for someone in El Salvador. Okay. So knowing the context of that there's over 400,000 cases in backlog. 400,000 cases of backlog for people who are abroad, outside the United States, just for those folks, okay? So because of that, they're trying to reduce that backlog, okay, at the embassy and consulate. Here in USCIS is step number one, the petition. So you might think, well, why the hell is a petition taking 10 months? It takes on average 12 months for a petition when it's immediate relative. When it's a family preference relationship, it takes even longer, okay? It's ridiculous. All right. But you have to complete step number one before moving on to the next step. So I believe, based on the context of over 400,000 cases abroad in backlog, waiting for interview, that's why it's like they're finally coordinating with each other intentionally. Say, hey, USCIS, can you slow it down a little bit over there stateside on the petition? Because otherwise, it's going to continue increasing the backlog on over here. So when I say it out loud, it makes sense, right? But I don't know. Maybe it's a conspiracy theory. You tell me. Hey, what's up, John? You started business in Washington State, and you have a silent pending case for 5 years now. Can you get your green card through your business? It's possible, but here's the deal: residency, the reemployment, even through your own company, it will still ask you a question when you file that. Eventually, get to a point where you file the last step of 485, and they're gonna send you RFE and say, "Show me proof that you have maintained your status." And unfortunately, Asylum pending application only stops the unlawful presence, but does not cure the issue about maintaining lawful status. Those are two different legal concepts. They sound very similar, but they're two different legal concepts. So it's very important to know that. So that's why, John, I recommend for now, until there's more conversation, that for any case, give you an idea. If you have a pending asylum case for 4 years minimum, fortunately, we have a 100% success rate in getting the interview. Now, us personally, our law firm does not help with the actual asylum interview to prepare you. We refer that part of it out to another attorney. But I can tell you, if it's 2 years waiting, 3 years waiting, you're likely going to get a lot of pushback and file a lawsuit. But John, on YouTube, you've been waiting for 5 years. You're good to go to get that asylum interview. Okay, if that's the route you want to go. But I'll only encourage that, John, if you are confident in your claim. That's number one, really. If you're not confident in your claim, could be a little shaky. And remembering the story, your testimony in the interview is very important. Okay, because even if you have, um, let's say, have good memory, but you are a little shaky on the details, you're gonna have to brush up on those details. Okay, because it doesn't make sense to file a lawsuit for a asylum case, but you're not confident in your own claim. Okay, but hopefully it helps. um, let's see. Let me scroll down here on TikTok. By the way, if you're interested in our services to help you, depending on platform, but here on TikTok and Instagram, you can go on the profile page up there. I think on TikTok it pops up down here below. I don't know how it goes. I think on YouTube is also down there. There's a link. Okay. At least on TikTok, Instagram, you see the profile page, the picture. There's a link right below that. Just answer a few questions, and you're going to get to a page where you have to pay this amount as a reservation fee. I hate doing that, but there's been a couple bad apples that disrespected us, didn't show up to the meeting. So come on, if you care about your legal status, show up to the meeting, okay? I don't know why people won't even text us to say, "Hey, we can't show up." It's a little bit defeating to my team if you couldn't get that vibe, because we are focused on securing your legal status so you can live and work in America legally. So you really have to show up. Okay. So here's the thing. Here's the next one. And then, oh yeah, after that, then you can self-schedule a meeting. The calendar is going to be right there. So save you a lot of time. Okay. Oh yeah. So the first meeting, by the way, is not with an attorney. It's with a trained care team specialist. Okay. We train them every day. I spend an hour with my team training them. Okay. And I have many team members who have been on the team for 2 years and more. Okay. So I want to assure you that I am confident in my own team, because we've had a couple calls. People like, I want to talk to a lawyer directly. That's just not how it works. I don't know any law firm that does that. So please don't expect that, because that's not how it works. If you do want to speak to an attorney directly, then yeah, we do charge a consult, like a strategy session fee, but it really makes sense if you want to save time, really, you share more information to our care team specialist. Okay, there's another Angie on TikTok I see here. Oh boy, there's a lot of questions. Thank you so much. Okay, I think I'm back at the right spot. By the way, I don't know why TikTok hides some comments, so that might be why some of you like copy and paste because you didn't see it, but it's there. I just need to, when I get to it, it just shows it like grayed out, but then I have to click it to approve it. Okay, Castone Jr. on TikTok. You're a US citizen, you file for your mom. She's living in the US. Do you need to file 45? Well, let's check that. I just talked about this like a few minutes ago, but Castone, did your mom enter the US with a visa? If she did and she never left, then yes, you need to file the I-130 and the 485, and you can file both at the same time. Okay, there's other forms to file, but those are two main ones. But if your mom, and this is also because not just legal entry, but because this relationship is called immediate relative. Okay, there's also assuming you're already over 21. But other scenario, if your mom entered without a visa, then no, do not file the 485. Okay. Thank you so much for asking. I'm happy to share that kind of strategy because especially the fees increased with USCIS April 1st, 2024. So I'd hate for people to file a 485 application, and it's a good chunk of change. So you want to make sure you're eligible in the pathway. Hey, C DuPont on Instagram. How long is too long to wait for expected request response? Expected request. What do you mean? Do you mean inquiry? There's a couple different kinds. You mean inquiry, like that kind of like, why is my case taking too long type of inquiry, or are you talking about? Well, I guess they're kind of similar. Expedite request. Either way, about at least 30 days minimum. Hey, if they get to you earlier, that'd be great. Expedited. When we've done it for our clients, I think we get an email the same day or maybe like the next day, just saying, "Hey, they received your request," but the actual like granting it or declining it, maybe a week. Okay, hopefully that helps. 328. Okay, you filed 328. Now you're asking for expedited. That's a little soon. What's your reason, if you don't mind sharing? I can tell you straight. I mean, so folks, if you are wondering about expedite request, here's the context. This new process was created by USCIS because of the pandemic. Okay, they want to share a little heart on their sleeve. Okay, but the pandemic does not exist anymore, according to the CDC and I guess the World Health Organization. So just please know USCIS could get rid of, I think they're slowly getting rid of expedite request. For one, it's very limited reasons, okay? But two, National Visa Center also has their own expedite request, but they don't really show it publicly. It's very hard to find. And also it's if when we do find the website or have the website, it doesn't say much. Okay. Um oh, you filed 2-6. It's still okay. So sorry, if you're on different, depending on your camera, or I mean, platform, I get cameras depending. Well, why? Oh, did you file an 824 also to move the case? I'm assuming that moves the case file. Well, is your mom, does your mom have legal entry, or is your mom abroad? It seems like based on what you're saying, the I-130 mentioned. Well, what does I-130 have? I think it's on page 5 or something on the right column. It may ask like, it should ask on one of those pages, are you selecting adjustment of status or consular abroad? That is such a critical question that most people pay not attention to. Okay, because let's say C DuPont on Instagram, if you're saying that, I'm just making an assumption here. Let's say you intended and you did check off consular processing, you selected the correct consulate, and your mom is actually abroad, or maybe she's here but you need to do a waiver or something, 601A waiver, and you haven't received the NVC email, but you did check it off correctly, like embassy or consulate, then you don't need to file 824, not necessarily. Okay. And when was your I-130 approved? So you may have, I don't know, I just need more facts, but you may have filed an application with when it's not necessary, because it does take at least after I-130 is petition approved and your case is supposed to be marked for abroad, takes 3 to 5 weeks to get the NVC case number and new case number and invoice number. September 2nd, I'm assuming 2023, I-130 is approved. So if you haven't received the inquiry, I mean NVC case number or invoice number, you need to use the inquiry box with NVC on the NVC page, okay, or State Department page related to it. Because even though you already, I mean, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but I definitely don't want y'all to be waiting for something. Let's say you file for something thinking A, B, C was supposed to happen, but you really didn't need to file it, so you continue waiting, but you didn't know that, but you could have done something else in the meantime. So, and especially this is especially consequential when it's a family preference category and you're waiting for the visa bulletin to show current for the prior day. And if so much time has passed, more than 1 year after prior day is reached, you're SOL. Then you got to restart the entire diagram process. Uh-huh. Well, tell those SOBs. Well, that is ridiculous. Did you do the NVC inquiry? Is that how you did it? To get an online page? Yeah, that's frustrating. I'll give them the middle finger. I don't know what else to say on that then. But I mean, for us attorneys, we have our own email. Thank the Lord. We have our own like channel per se, email directly to NVC. So that's something like our team would do is like, here's the proof. I don't know. I can't remember the in the inquiry box on the NVC page, like you can upload a document because that would be obvious. Um, if but yeah, I mean obvious to the government, but sometimes not so obvious to them. All right, folks, thanks for hanging on here. I just like to walk it through with y'all when I can, especially if I don't may not think you need an attorney, but maybe maybe you might need our our channel to NVC because we don't have that with USCIS actually. That would be nice. Oh, you do have a lawyer? Give man, you might have to give that dude a middle finger. Jeez, goddamn. I mean, see this scenario, like if you already have an attorney, like I'm not trying to, you know, take a make a move to another lawyer, but look, if you I hate that, you may have paid ABC fees to another lawyer already, but look, if you're not getting the service you need, and especially you already explained the process to that person, that law firm, and it's been like a month, and you get the feeling like they haven't done anything for you. I mean, verify, but if they keep telling you, "Oh yeah, we'll get to that next week. We'll get to that next week." Hell no, man. If we got a situation like that, we're gonna do same day, get it done, because we know the government takes a hell of a long time. So why do we need to take a long time for our clients? That doesn't make sense. Does not make sense. I mean, obviously, of course, if the legal service, what we're trying to accomplish takes hours, then it will not be the same day. But so it depends. But something like this, it would not take hours. Alrighty. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. And now next question. Thank you so much for the questions. Thank you for your trust. I know it's difficult to know which attorney, which law firm to even talk with, to share the story. So thank you. By the way, you don't have to. Okay, Miriam on TikTok, you apply for I want a petition December 2022. Your husband's in Africa or an African country. You're a U.S. citizen waiting 14 months to approve. Has it been 14 months? Actually, it's more than that. 1 year, 12 months. No, we're now May. So you filed December 2022. You've been waiting 16 months. 16 months, Miriam. That's a long time. Okay. Um, so you would have to check your service center, which service center you have on your receipt notice. Okay. And and then you have to check processing time. But yeah, for 14 months, 15, 16 months, we'll definitely file a lawsuit. Okay. For a petition only. All right. Hopefully that helps. Yeah. The other thing I was going to say is, C. DuPont, like, I don't, I'm not here to talk poorly about any attorney. What I'm trying to do here, folks, I'm trying to elevate, or at least match up to the standards of the profession that you're expecting. And I hear a lot of negative stories, like mind blowing. I see attorneys who are giving, I mean, bad advice is one thing, but like saying they're going to do something and not do it, or they say they do something, they do like 25% of it. Like, folks, we have someone signed up with us, and I recall like he or she was thinking that a VAWA petition was filed. Sure enough, it was not. Another scenario that occurred. This is all true story. I'm not making this shit up. Like, ooh, excuse me, the French. That shows how frustrated I am for about other attorneys. Um, they had a U visa certification. Those are difficult to get. Okay, if someone views U visas for someone who's been a victim of a crime, okay, could be significant other, could be someone random, like you're at a bar, someone hits you over the head. I've heard those stories. My fraternity days. Um, you contact police, immigration attorney. What we do, our law firm, we contact police department, or if the case went to prosecution, district attorney, or talk to a judge, get that a form signed by them, certified. Okay, so this law firm, this other law firm, I'm not going to name names, actually did get the certification. They got it. I'm like, bro, that was 2018. That's only valid. Guess how long that's valid for? Only 6 months. This is now 2024. Oh my goodness. And many police departments, especially, they have a limited time frame. Like I think Harris County or Houston Police Department, they have like 2 years. So it's very limited timing in terms of like when the arrest happened or incident happened until the time you ask for the U visa certification. I think it's dumb. Like because something happened back then, you may not have known about U visa, but whatever. So if I had more time to advocate, I would advocate on one of those issues. All right, done with my rant on that. Back to the question. Sorry. Karina on TikTok, your husband has a 10-year bar. You're a US citizen. You can't fix his papers, but he got attacked by a dog. Um, well, there's a couple issues. Well, 10-year bar. Well, attacked by a dog. That sounds more like a civil infraction or a personal injury type case than a crime. If it is a crime, maybe I don't know, especially in your state. If it is a crime, then yeah, you know what? Let me check out the listing of the U visa qualifying crimes. Okay, I mean there's assault, but I don't know about assault by a animal. That'll be interesting. The good thing about U visa is that it has a section that says other related crimes. So it's like a catch-all phrase. So we try that on some situations. It just depends. Um, but it doesn't specifically say. That's an interesting one. If you contact us, we'll take a look and we'll do some research. But unfortunately, I can't do the research on live show. Yeah, yeah. None says civil. Yeah, but yeah, I don't anticipate that that would be a crime in your state. Please prove me wrong. That'd be great for you or your husband. But otherwise, through you, you're a U.S. citizen. We'll love to learn more about the 10-year bar. But yeah, if there's very limited scenarios where someone could stay in the United States, even with some kind of bar, and adjust status here. But majority of times, someone has to return to the country eventually, not right now, for one of the steps. All right, let's see here. Let's go up. Blessed shares a comment that came through the enter the border, worried about Trump maybe being president in January 20th next year, and your asylum process still pending. Well, Blessed, how long have it been your asylum been pending? Asylum is definitely one of those case types, application types that you should be concerned about if a conservative person like Trump is going to be in office, because I think a whole lot of things could change in that sense. But if it's been at least 4 years, your asylum has been pending, and you haven't had an interview, or you had the interview already, and it's already been, shoot, 3 months, 4 months, then you can file a lawsuit for that as well. Honey on TikTok, how long does a administrative process take? There's, I would say, hold your horses for 2 months. Okay, I'm sorry, that's some English American phrase. Just hold tight, hang out for 2 months. But generally, I've seen the minimum 6 months. Some people spend less time, but yeah, the background check is not necessarily done by the U.S. government directly. It's subcontracted out, so it does take a long time if they really are checking your background. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, folks. This TikTok thing, like, I see why you need to like copy and paste the comments sometimes, because when I scroll down to see the older comments, it takes away. There's been so many comments, so I'm thankful for that. But let's see. Okay, so I want, and I can see some comments that have been hidden that by TikTok that want me to approve it. And I just clicked approved on one of them, and it won't show up still. So that is weird. Maybe because it's closer to the. Okay, so anyway, I'll just say what it is. They have an I-130 petition filed for the minor child sponsored by a U.S. citizen. And in India, it's been 17 months, still no approval at the Tech Service Center. So this is immediate relative classification. So let me take a look at the processing times, if we can find it real quick for y'all. But immediate relative, that shouldn't take 17 months. That's ridiculous. You said Tech Service Center? Okay. So this person, Rajan, on TikTok gave me a lot of info. So that's very helpful if you want me to check processing times or give you info related to it. So it only allows me to check all service centers for that situation, 14.5 months, and yours at 17. So we can definitely file a lawsuit on that. Okay. That's ridiculous. Nunez, M. Nunez, what do you send with 45? So I mean, we're happy to send a checklist. Happy to do that. Okay. But here's the deal: if you're gonna file yourself, you still need to do your own due diligence. But I don't know even what kind of case it is. Is it a marriage case? Who's sponsoring you? I don't know. If it's a marriage, then first thing you need to do is get a joint bank account. You gotta have joint finances. Very, very important. Okay. Let's see here. Someone else, Claudia Thorne. Let me see if I can approve that comment. They won't let me approve it, but I can see it. So Claudia Thorne on TikTok. Can a green card holder marry a non-immigrant in the U.S. and give him residency? Yes, but here's the thing. Okay, when you say non-immigrant, does that person have non-immigrant status? Let's say like H-1B, J-1, something else, O-1. Yes, as a green card holder, yes, as long as that person maintains lawful status. Okay. If for some reason to be able to get adjustment of status in the United States, if for some reason overstayed that visa, okay, it's okay, still a pathway. It's just a different pathway. You need to apply for a waiver. And as a green card holder, yes, you can be a sponsor, you're a spouse or future spouse. Then yes, you can be a qualifying relative for a waiver. So whatever your fiance, if this is about you, then make sure that person tries to maintain their non-immigrant status as long as possible. Okay, that will save a lot of time and stress. Brina on TikTok. I don't know why it's not letting me pin some comments. How to update the I-130 from green card status to citizenship. Well, it kind of depends on if the I-130 has already been approved. If it hasn't, then we would update them, just mailing in a letter to USCIS where the case file is supposed to be, based on what the receipt notice says, and with the certificate of citizenship, okay, or naturalization. Um, let's see here. Everything blended. Let's see if I can pin that one. Okay, I can pin it. How long is too long to wait for expected request response? Do you mean request for evidence? I know there's been many people, many y'all in the audience have been sharing an experience that you mailed back like a medical exam. Someone I think messaged yesterday said it's still been 10 months, 11 months, and still nothing after sending medical. So it's not so for us in terms of lawsuit. It's not so much a time after sending the RFE response. It's more about when did you file the case to begin with. Okay, so more about that. Like if it's adjustment of status and it's been 18 months, then we'll file a lawsuit on that one. Okay, folks, so I can answer one more question. I gotta hop off. I think I have a meeting right now. Don't worry, it's not for a client. It's for something else. Let's see here. And all my systems are low battery right now. Okay, Falak on YouTube. How many times after submit the last document to embassy can a writ of mandamus? I don't know your other comment here, but how many times? I mean, at least 6 months. Okay, if you're outside the United States, consular processing, then we file a lawsuit. But every case is different. Okay, folks, if you believe your case is delayed, we might tell you, look, you really need to wait more time. We're happy to share if you don't mind sharing your situation. Okay, so the best way to do that on your respective platform is up here on TikTok or Instagram. Um, yeah, Falak, so that would be at least 6 months before lawsuit. Okay, and then if you're on YouTube, I think it's down here, or Facebook down there. There's a link. Just answer a few questions so we can understand your case better. Just you have to pay this amount reservation fee to hold your spot, the meeting spot, because we do have limited time, as most of the team is focused on working on the case to help you live and work in America legally in the United States of A. All right, thank you so much. And I think I'll be on tomorrow. I think so. So stay tuned, okay? Thank you so much. Y'all have a good one. Peace. And y'all know what to do. Follow for more and share. Thank you.